The book, while discussing the concept of truth, argues that truth, being inexplicable in manifestation, could be seen as non-existent, but is necessary to justify the existence of each state. The conceptual science, identified by the book, is the best friend, and provides support to truth. One conceptualizes the other, and since truth does not exist, neither does science constituted as truth. Since both emerge from the being, they work in the inexplicable. Conceptual science and truth work in doubt and, at times, in trying to explain it, they amplify it. For this science and truth to exist, even momentarily, they need to be placed on some plane. Once located, science and truth will make sense, as they will give practicality to the existence of that plane. Science and truth are instruments of connections of the elements of a plane. It is through them that the being seeks support in the plane of the so-called and debatable existence, which is clarified by the being itself in the encounter with itself. In steps towards this encounter, the being walks through the tools that are used to connect with the various planes. Texts, figures, and thoughts, expressed by any means, have brought varied points of reflection. There are practical and correct texts, and countless others, well said and well written, that blur the simplicity of what is at the center of understanding things, thus promoting the causes of confusion. There is no malice or goodness in this, given the unstoppable need for expressions, even lacking deep knowledge. It is one of the costs of investigative processes, which often impose themselves as an apparent fruit of deep knowledge, when, in practice, it is superficial reasoning, crowned with some shine, some elegance, romanticism, or sentimentality. Nothing wrong or right, just the reflection of the characteristic, imposed on a plane, that imposes connections. Already, the apparent authors of superficial ideas act in complicity with the plan that plants these superficial ideas. One of the ways the planes sustain themselves in this apparent reality is through the creation of images of themselves, planting them, or making them sensitive and perceptible to other participants in the composition of the plane. The being, in deep dives to approach oneself, clearly identifies that existence is only given to something when that something is perceived. The universe can be the most controversial concept that exists, for nothing is more limited than the conceived universe. Here is a paradox that demonstrates that only what is perceived exists, although there is a firm conviction that if it is not perceived, it does not mean that it is not there. Present, past, and future are inserted into this paradox. The existence, however, of what is perceived, will always require the presence of something, or someone, who perceives it. If the observer, or perceiver, disappears, what is observed or perceived, disappears with him. One, therefore, needs the other to exist. If there is nothing to perceive, there is no need for perceptions, and, if there is no perceiving element, there is no need for something to be perceived. This idea makes the being identify the character of perception and creation itself. In this operation, the perceived object presents itself as unknown, at first. The being uses the senses and analysis to transform the unknown into the intimate, recognizable, and interpretable thing. Science and truth collaborate, and each observer creates their own world or universe in the light of science and truth information, through comparisons, redundancies, and deductions, with some logic. The foundation, however, is mentally constructed by elements planted in one's own mind. The result is completely unreal, with the paradox that the created universe is unique to each one, that is, each being is alone, and solely, in this unique universe, created by oneself. Therefore, this whole is a great individual creation, which can only be explained by the one who created it. Neither God nor man. The translated images are supported by mental images planted or constructed to mask processes that are or have occurred differently.